If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. I saw this video once about an elderly woman who was going to live in who is living in her car in the desert. There was actually, I think, 2 videos. I see a lot of people comment about this video on my comment section of my channel, and they talk about how worried they are about her. I think she's actually had to have help since these makings of these videos. Then I see a lot of people saying, well, I'm gonna start this lifestyle and I'm, in my late 60s, early 70s. And it worries me, only because I know how difficult the lifestyle is on me. And I'm only 47. Carolyn's 57. And I really see how it's taking a toll on Carolyn. I mean, Carolyn has a hard time even getting in the camper anymore. I knew this one fella. He was in his 70s, his wife and him. That was their big retirement plan, was to get a 5th wheel, travel the country from one boondocking location to another boondocking location. They went out for their very first attempt at it, realized they hated it. Now remember, they just sold everything, went out on the road. They had to stop what they were doing, try to figure out how to sell whatever assets they had, and get back into an apartment. So they had a house, and then they went in a 5th wheel, and they went back to an apartment. Well, a few months later, the wife passed away, and I thought, man, that is just sad. Just terrifyingly sad. I just couldn't wrap my head around, they put all their hopes and dreams in this one thing, and realized it was too much effort to do. They couldn't even recoup and have some sort of life together afterwards. The other aspect is, could you imagine if they were out there in the middle of nowhere and the lady would have passed away in the camper? I mean, to me, I really, that is one of the hardest things I struggle with, is, realizing I'm out there in the middle of nowhere, Carolyn gets sick or starts to have a heart attack or something like that, and I can't get her to a hospital fast enough. That would be something I would have a lot of guilt over. So just the other day, I made a video about how this lifestyle is not a very healthy lifestyle. It's really hard on the body. Like I said, I'm 47 years old, and I've gained quite a bit of weight, especially over the winter. You just get stuck in a camper. I feel like I'm still fairly healthy, but, cooped up in a camper all day, my knees are starting to hurt. You don't get a lot of movement room. It's not like you can stretch out. Like this elderly lady who lives in a car. Man, that would be absolutely, I just couldn't imagine doing it. I just told you about this unhealthy lady. They started out on this adventure and they were sleeping in a Jeep. She couldn't even walk to the bathroom. She was so unhealthy, without help. And so within a week, they had to go stay in a hotel room. I recognize that a lot of people are going to comment, well, this is why you need to go to paid campsites. And that's fine. I'm not arguing that. I mean, we're talking about specifically boondocking, living in a car in the national forests and BLMs. Because that is what they're commenting on, not about RV parks. I guess it really depends on what you want your adventure to be. If you want to get away out in nature, well, doing what we're doing in the national forests, national parks, BLMs, well, you don't have any electricity, you don't have the conveniences. So you got to worry about your medications and any medical devices you might need that runs on electric, generators, solar panels. And all these things take maintenance and time to care for. You got to move the solar panels around all the time. You got to start the generators, you got to charge the batteries. A lot of effort. Just met a person in a Class A, not that long ago. Class A RV, big thing. Him and his wife and his daughter. And he was in his 50s, and he even wondered how much longer he was going to be able to do it. He only had a 40-gallon tank in the Class A. I really thought that was odd. So he would fill his tank before he got there, and then when the tank emptied, would go over to the water faucet, carry buckets of water back to him, the camper, and then fill the tank back up just by dumping it in that little hole. It was a lot of work. I mean, I showed him my little pump, and he thought that was a good idea, so he's going to build one of those pumps, he said. But then he would have to empty his gray tank. And so what he would do there is he would put a bucket underneath his gray water dispenser, and he would carry it over to the bathrooms and dump it into into the privy toilet. So it's not much different than what I'm doing. A lot of people tell me, oh, that's why you need a Class A. It's so much easier. You know, he had to start his generator. He had to maintain his generator. The first thing he had problems with when he got there, you know, he's been doing this for a while, so he understood what to do. But when he got there, his batteries were dead on his generator. You know, it was one of those push-button ones. He doesn't have a pull start. So he's out there right before dark trying to get this generator to start, trying to jump it and all kinds of different things. So these are all the things you got to worry about, because once you come out here, you can't call on services to come and help you. Another thing you should think about is you're kind of your own first responders. So, you know, we had to put out the remnants of our pop-up camper fire with half-melted buckets of water, you know, that we were getting from the stream. Now, the one last thing I'd like to address is being able to drive these large campers. You know, Class A. You know, I'm 47 years old, and I've already decided I'm never going to get anything that big. You know, when I get down into a spot with my little truck, and I have to turn around, and you know, I just couldn't imagine having to back anything up. You know, I made a video not that long ago, you know, having to back up 4 or 5 miles because there's a limb down. Could you imagine getting down the road on a Class A and having to back that dude up? Or fifth wheel? Driving as you get older becomes more difficult. I already know this. I can feel my driving abilities degrading as I get older. You know, I used to drive all over the country. I was a consultant, had to drive all over the Midwest. So, I mean, I put in a lot of miles. But now I'm older, you know, I get into city traffic with the camper, and you know, I got white knuckles, and I'm always focused, I'm looking everywhere. Your reaction time to problems become less than it was when you're younger. Having to react when you got this big old monster trailer behind you is going to get a little complicated the older you get. So think about that. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.